I feel like the plan has worked. You know, I knew that we were going to be young last year, and I knew we were going to have a learning curve. So the plan was that we would suffer through the learning curve and do our very best to get them up to speed as soon as possible, knowing that this year we would still be young, but we would at least have experience behind us, and it worked, obviously. We were able to come out and compete with what I always, my goal is always that we can come out and compete with confidence and calmly. And I think our team was enthusiastic and calm, and they said they were. And I had people that were sitting in the stands that said not only was the team much more calm and confident, but the coaching staff was as well. So I think overall we had prepared well, and it's always nice to be able to compete how you train. I think the only real question mark we had, besides whether Zamaripa was going to be able to go or not, was Lachelle Wong, because she's a freshman, and she doesn't really see herself as beautiful as an athlete as we all see her. So she didn't really feel that she was in the top 6 on the events. She actually is in the top 6 on beam too, but we started off slowly. So for Lachelle to come out and compete on bars and floor so well, that was the only question mark with us, and everything else just ran according to plan. It's chemistry, the team clicked. There was no fabrication for their energy and support of each other. I think that Allison Taylor jumped about 10 feet in the air when Tani Fertone landed her vault. So that there was nothing fake about the energy within the team. The fans felt it, and so the fans started feeding off of our team energy, and the team started feeding off the fans' energy, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And by the time it got to floor, I didn't have to give my speech that I usually give them about it's showtime. And once you get inside those white lines, you're performing and you're on stage. That was already done. They had already set the stage for all of that, the 3 previous rotations. Individual highlights. Having Tani back. I don't think anybody last year really knew what she's capable of doing. We knew, but we had never really seen her compete in college. I think she competed maybe 1 meet and didn't really do very well before she got injured. So she changed her attitude this summer, and she trained with confidence. That was her objective. She did a great job with it, and that was a highlight, seeing her compete on the different events. How Zamaripa worked through her injury was a highlight for us, because last year she was young. She was a little Bruin cub, and she would just try to, when I would ask her a question, she would try to figure out the right answer instead of telling me honestly how she felt. And so to be able to, she sprained her elbow 2 days before the meet, and to be able to have her communicate with us as coaches on a mature, honest level. And we would ask her a question, and can you go? And she'd go, let me try it. Let me go try some vault timers, and I'll let you know. And she could come back and give us feedback, constructive feedback, and not just tell us what we wanted to hear. So that was a highlight. Little things like that, behind the scene things that you wouldn't just be able to tell by a score. I would have to say the overall biggest highlight is Anna Lee and the transformation that she's had. And we've talked a lot about it. I've been interviewed about it. She's talked a lot about it. But it's come to fruition. Her being able to compete consistently the entire evening as well as she did, that's been a project in the works since last spring, summer, that she's worked diligently on. And the one area that she had to work on was her consistency. And she said to me last week, she said, I know you're going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but it feels very strange not to be stressed out and freaking out. And it's like, why do you think? And she says, because I've been consistently making good decisions. I'm like, great, you've learned a life lesson. This is cool. And she was able to go out and compete with the confidence that she's never, ever felt before. And everybody else saw it firsthand. Elise Hopfner-Hibbs, we told her that her journey this year is not just to work hard, but to be able to change how she trains and how she thinks before she goes up to compete. Maybe change her cues that she tells herself so that she's able to compete her skills with that sense of release and not just force them. Right before she went up on balance beam, I reminded her of this, and that was going to be her goal. And she wanted to take her double turnout. I said, no, you know, we're not going to learn life lessons by playing it safe. Let's go for it. And was really proud of her with that. So that was a highlight. I think it's always important to have the alumni come by, whether it's to come by and meet the student athletes or to speak with them. But to have what we called a pioneer reunion, which was just to honor all of those that came before when we started winning national championships. And all those people really set the foundation for us to keep building and be great. It was really important for our program, for our current student athletes, and for them. There were 2 former Bruins there that I'd never even met, and I've been here since 1982. So it was great to meet them. It was very important to have our coaches back. Scott Bull, who's hopefully going to be moving back to Los Angeles soon and becoming more of a part of the program. Jerry Tomlinson, who hired me and helped me get my start in this wonderful world of gymnastics. And Coach Art Sherlock, we're all here. So that was really, I keep saying the word important, but it really was to continue the tradition and to honor our family. It was one of the most memorable moments for me as a coach to have Kim Hamilton, Anthony, speak with our team. She's written a book, an autobiography called Unfavorable Odds, which tells a remarkable story of her life. And when she was here, we kind of knew that she came from a very poor background and a world of drugs and things, all things that are not good. But none of us really knew how deep. And when I read this book, I was just shocked that this person got through it all without being a victim in life. I mean, she literally is a living legend of life is about the choices that you make for your life. And she brought her book, and each of the girls got a book, and she spoke with our team at length about her life story. And it was really cool, be able to point up to our wall in our locker room and show them Kimmy up there and having won her 4 national championship titles. And she told some stories about me, and she came in the same year Chris Waller did. So she told stories about Chris and about Loretta, our trainer, and that was great to have a sister, a Bruins sister, come and share her life with them. Here's this person that was a total stranger to them before that they felt was family. And it just shocks me to think that Kimmy's 42 years old. They all are, in my mind, they all stay about 26 years old. So that it was a magical weekend. There were a ton of people in Poly Pavilion. There was, it felt like it was packed. We had a little over 5,000. It felt like there was about 8,000, 9,000. The energy was electrifying. Everybody was just in the moment. I think everybody felt like they were part of the event. That's what makes a great sporting event, when you're not just sitting there as a spectator. That's why I love football so much, because I believe I make a difference. And I think that that's how the crowd felt, that they felt that they made a difference. We set a record for student attendance. We usually get around 400 or 500 students at our home meets, and we got over 1,000 students at this one. We got them all new T-shirts, and it was so cool to see that whole side of Poly Pavilion was just these blue Bruin Den Chalkbox T-shirts, and they had a ball. They knew exactly when to cheer. They stood almost the entire time. It was an amazing moment in Poly, and the last time I felt like that in Poly Pavilion for gymnastics was in 2004 when we hosted and won the national championships. Our plan for the start of the season was for our first 3 meets to try to get everybody competing that has prepared well on those events. So we've had this last weekend, then we go to Washington this week, and then we go to Cal Stanford next week. And between Washington and Cal, now we're going to get everybody rotated in to compete. We would love to be able to maintain our top standing in the country. I think that's important. But it's as equally as important to get our full roster in there and give them competition time and to be able to see how they will be judged and scored. So that's our plan. This weekend, we're going to substitute some people in. Lachelle will hopefully come in on beam. Tawny will come in on beam. Brittany may come in on beam. I don't know if we're going to put Vanessa on bars or not yet because of her elbow. And the Cal meet's going to be fun because we're going to put a whole different roster up for that. So these next 2 meets are going to be really exciting. And then the week after Cal, the meet after Cal, that Sunday, we're going against Stanford, and we'll be putting the guns back in for that one. Thank you.